welcome to Barely Filtered. We are in a brand new studio today, so I feel like I got a little bit of a facelift here, and I have a special guest today.
Co-host is back.
My sister, Sophia. Not Sophie, even though I'll be calling her Sophie. You guys can call her Sophia. Okay, so this episode's going to be something a little different. I'm exploring the idea of bringing on like repeat guests as kind of like a sidekick during my solo episodes to kind of get some feedback from. Because when I talk about, sometimes when I do my solo episodes and I'm just literally venting to a camera for 45 minutes, I feel like you guys are probably out there screaming, questions for me or like, don't do that. And it'd just be nice to have somebody here to vocalize probably everything that you are thinking already.
That's my job now. I feel like we're acting out one of those reels where somebody like stitches and they just like insert their face into the reel. And that's
you're like,
my
hold
job.
right there. Anyway, moving right along, we are going to actually be talking about my most recent dating stint because, obviously I'm still single and I've been learning so much. I know you guys probably feel like I've been talking about dating for years now, but I just want to remind you all that I've actually only been dating for like 1 year. And then I was with my ex-husband before that for like 9 years. So I think, you get kind of rusty when you're with the same person for so long. And being in this new world of online dating specifically has just been teaching me so much. Like, I feel like I have a PhD in human psychology and like
PhD
just
in personality disorders that we didn't
personality
plan on
disorders. There's so attachment styles. My God, there's so much to know about just our generation. Well, like I'm in my 30s, Sophie's in her 20s, but just like this era of dating and of like living in partnership. It's just so easy for women now, I think, to be single because we've had to kind of step into our masculine a lot and make our own money and be kind of independent in that way. But then it's hard to be in a dynamic of like masculine and feminine when the woman is already kind of in her masculine.
Yeah,
you know
and
what I mean?
a lot of men don't really like that. They want to feel masculine. So if you're dating a woman who's like a powerhouse, like that throws off the dynamic. And not necessarily saying that that this type of a guy is a bad person, but like it's just not traditional and it's not what we've expected to live up to like our whole lives.
Yeah, and I think it's become this thing of like what came first, the chicken or the egg. Like the man also can't be in his masculine if we're in our masculine. Yeah. So it's like it's not his fault if we're kind of spearheading the relationship, picking where we're going. Yeah. Like, and I have to like now intentionally refrain from making suggestions early on in a relationship. I'm trying to let a guy kind of like for instance, I'm going on a date tonight with this guy. It's a second date. And he's like, I made reservations at Nobu, Los Angeles. We both live in South Bay. That's 45 minutes away. I'm like, what? And I know he's trying to be kind of, he was trying to step it up and like pick a nice place. But in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be in West Hollywood all day today. The last thing I want to do is like go back there tonight. Yeah, but I was just like, anything. My friend was like, Aurora, you say thank you very much for making the reservation.
Thank you for your sushi.
Exactly. But like the part of me that's just my masculine part wants to be like, I have a better idea and let me take charge.
I'm just picturing you now flooring it down the 405 in your Tesla doing your makeup.
No, he's picking me up.
Oh, that's nice.
I know.
With your car seats
that's the other thing. For some reason, I hate being picked up. Like, I just want to meet you there. I don't like when other people drive either. Oh God, there's no hope for me. He picked me up on the first date too, and I was just like. And then he wanted to call, and he called me. He wanted to talk on the phone before.
Illegal. Fired. You're fired.
I was like, this feels very invasive.
This is our problem. We're like, oh my God, he's calling.
And like a voicemail? I don't even know how to work that feature.
No, you know what's worse? Try getting picked up on a blind date. I had to get in a car with the man.
No, that's dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
Why did you do that? Oh, because you had a mutual friend for love.
We actually barely had a mutual friend. It was Isabel.
Oh, well, she's trustworthy.
What? I've had like a 50-50 outcome with her suggestion.
Okay, well, it doesn't mean she's
trustworthy.
She's not gonna say it was a serial killer.
No. He was a very nice guy. This was eggplant. Mr. Eggplant.
Who's Mr. Big Penis? Who's Mr. Eggplant?
Comment on no such thing. Grandma might be listening. You met Mr. Eggplant.
Oh.
Your mic's in your face.
W-I-O-L.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Why do you call him Eggplant?
You came up with that name.
Why? Would I ever do that?
Great question. It was in our family group chat with Grandma. You said Sophie's new boyplant.
Sophie's new boyfriend, and I gave him an eggplant
emoji. I have the screenshot.
Because you must have said something to me to make me think that he had a large penis.
No such thing.
Because you don't know, or did you ever get that far?
I'm just not commenting on that publicly.
Well, that's not what we do here. We comment on everything publicly.
I swear, you just threw it in our group chat one day, and I was like, "Why did you do that?"
That must have been like accidentally.
No, let's talk have you met yourself?
This was the guy. This was the guy that Sophie accidentally texted our dad, thinking that you were texting him, right?
No, that was Chase. That was in college. That's why my dad's name in my phone is all capital. Dad! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation
Why?
point.
What did you send him? Like
God.
a dirty text or something?
And I changed it up very last minute. Thank God. It still wasn't. It's still like I think what I almost sent was really bad. I was flying to see my college boyfriend. This was back in college.
I'm nervous. I don't even know if I want to hear this. So go ahead.
You know when in college when like the emojis came out, not the keyboard one, like the Bitmoji.
Oh yeah.
For like yourself.
Yeah.
And it would like make one for you and who you were texting, and it could make like scenarios of the two of you together.
I'm scared.
I was gonna send it to him, and it was a Bitmoji collage. It was like, ready for sexy time.
No.
And I was about to send that, and I thank God last minute I changed it, and I ended up just changing it to something like, and I sent this to Dad. It's been so long. I can't wait to see you. Winky face.
It's been so long. I can't wait to see you. Winky face. That could be worse.
It could be so much worse.
Dad was probably like something in your eye.
But it was supposed to go with the Bitmoji that said sexy time. And then I deleted that because I was like, I can do better.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, man. That's scarring. I hope, did Dad see it?
Oh, yeah. He responded.
Oh, God.
Like, I just dropped you off at the airport. It hasn't been that long. Because he knew it wasn't for him, so he was like playing along, but like, thank God it wasn't worse.
Oh no. That could have been worse though. That crisis kind of averted. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're wrapping up this little bit right here. So we just talked about Sophie. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so anyway, back to my dating for this year. This episode is just going to kind of go over the most recent scenarios. And I don't know. How do I want to phrase it? I kind of don't want to be like, oh, my dating, blah, blah, blah. But is that, I don't know. Is that?
Some recent experiences
yeah.
that I've had. I think you kind of say some recent dating experiences.
Yeah. Okay. So I figured since I've been doing this new thing with the podcast where I don't talk about the current person that I'm going on dates with, just in case it's somebody that I am really serious about and want to keep private for a little while. I know, crazy concept. But when we part ways, it's fair game. They remain anonymous, and I'm going to tell you all of the lessons that I've learned. And this last one was a doozy. Let me tell you guys. I've learned nothing, clearly, because I have learned nothing. My behavior in this scenario, there was no improvements made from even the last, like, when you think about the con man from the beginning of last year, with all those red flags, like, there were even those kind of flags in the beginning of this one, and I just kept waiting to see if things were going to kind of change course. But I will say I made some really good choices towards the end that I think you're all going to be proud of me for. I did pull out. I was the one who ended it because he No, I didn't pull out.
Did pull out.
I didn't. I was the one who ended it because he didn't fit my non-negotiables. One of my non-negotiables was that you have to be ready, and the situation that you're in has to be uncomplicated. This person was complicated. He wasn't even like finalized in his divorce yet. So let's just rewind. We're not going to share his name. We're going to respect his privacy. I'm not going to give any of his anything that might identify him. However, I'm going to tell you some things that I'm looking for some input and that's why Sophie's here. So, okay. Met this guy on a dating app.
Ooh.
Turns
Which
out,
one?
Raya, as now we've come to the conclusion, that does not mean you're ready, willing, able, and excited to be in a committed relationship.
Probably saying the opposite of that, actually.
Yeah. But I saw him and I was like, okay, good job. He's a dad. Which usually makes me think, okay, they'll understand my lifestyle a little bit. We'll
How
have
old
that.
is his child?
I'm not going to say, but young, very young. And so we went on a first date and he was kind of shy and quiet. The communication over text was very not cold, but there was a formality to it that felt
how old is he?
a little. So he's like 40 in his late 40s.
40s don't know how to text.
I don't know.
It's like
maybe
by end of day, thanks.
Yeah.
Dash the name. It's like, I know who I'm texting. Thank you.
Right. Like you don't need to sign off on your text. It's not an email. No, he didn't do that. But the text was like very like robotic, which kind of made me, in a way, it reminded me of this guy who I dated back in college, the baseball guy, who also used to text like that. And for me back then, like I kind of thought it was like a mystery for me to solve, or that there was some kind of like Morse code or something in there that I don't know.
You seem distant and cold. I know. I'm gonna chase you. It's like,
yeah,
maybe don't.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, the texting right off the bat was a red flag. I should have just written that down and been like, okay, here's one thing.
But not to say everybody that's a bad texter is a red flag. Some people really are just bad.
Right. And I have been hearing lately from certain experts that I've been talking to that, women can't expect men to communicate on their level because men are not wired to communicate the way we do.
No.
And also I kind of thought that one of the red flags that I've had in other dating scenarios was that the guy is too back and forth with me all day long on text, and it's kind of like now I was looking for somebody who is a little bit more standoffish with text, because I also don't think that's a good thing when
it's not. It's honestly not that normal. I remember dating Michael and like texting him 24/7. He was like, you don't have to do that.
Right.
And I was like, what?
Well, also you start to realize that a lot of times those people who are so comfortable texting back and forth, sharing every thought in their head, when you meet them in person, the connection in person doesn't necessarily live up to the connection over text. And it makes you feel like, okay, are you not comfortable being yourself in real life? Are you a keyboard warrior?
That sounds like almost like a younger generation thing, like younger
it's
kids now. It's like they're not present. They're more comfortable behind a screen than they are in person.
Yes.
That's like a lot of, I think, this like young adult generation of like early 20s where it's like you need to learn how to be a person in person.
Yeah, and I also think some of men that I've dated in the past who are in their 40s or late 30s also have this, where it's this kind of like uncomfortable, it's an uncomfortability with connection in person, where they like need the safety of being seen behind a phone or behind a screen.
That's so weird, and that's just so weird to me.
Yeah,
from that coming from like an older guy.
Yeah, so
but that might be why they're single. Intimacy issues.
Well, okay, let's take it back. So this guy, he was a cold and distant texter. I was like, maybe green flag, maybe red flag. We'll just put that in the box too. He was cute. Not everybody's type, but certain things like that I like. That.
So a grizzly bear.
No, he wasn't. But he was really tall. I don't want to give away too much, but let's just say some things I liked about him are definitely not what other women like all the time.
Out of shape.
No, not that. If you guess it, I'll say yes.
Balding?
Huh?
Balding?
I can't confirm or deny. Now, this
Such an
person
interesting type. I like my men to be out of shape and losing their hair.
But so right off the bat, he started being like, I want you to come here with me. I like, I have a house here. And like, you would really love this, regenerative farming thing. And I'm like, oh, that actually sounds really cool. I'm like, okay. But like in my head, I'm like, okay, this is a red flag. You're making plans with me in April and it's February.
Oh, the future faking.
Yeah. Or actually it was December. Yeah. Like really acting like we were ahead of where we already were. We'd gone on like 2 dates and he was like, oh, I want you to come here with me in April. And do you want to stay over my house a month from now? And we had kind of bonded on this plant medicine thing because I had just done my ketamine therapy and he's really into plant medicine as well. I didn't, and this was also a red flag. On our second date, he kind of was like teasing me about how on my Instagram I talk about vaping and how I quit and how it was really hard for me and I struggled with the addiction for a year. He was teasing me about it. And I didn't end up finding out until a few dates later that he is an active vapor and like he never said it to me.
That's it. And he was making fun of you for
Right.
quitting?
He was making fun of me for like, being a 30-something-year-old healthy mom and like having this super strange addiction sort of thing. Like, not that it's that strange, but
well, just a weird.
What I didn't like about that was that he wasn't forthcoming with
just hypocritical.
He wasn't forthcoming. He was kind of teasing my openness and vulnerability. He was exploiting my openness and vulnerability and not being open and vulnerable himself, which I think is a red flag. Next, he was inviting me to a lot of places, giving me a lot of gifts, like gifts for the kids, gifts for nothing like, not like jewelry and stuff, but just like every time I'd see him, he'd give me like this thing or this thing. And
you know what this is reminding me of? Because I've been seeing just so many videos on just honestly, it's the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. It's like all over my feed right now, which means a lot of things about narcissism are all over my feed. And
who's a narcissist?
People are saying Blake is. People are saying Justin is. It's like, who's the narcissist?
I'm team
or Ryan. Like, it's like a whole.
I'm kind of team Justin.
So at first I was like, there's.
But I'm not anti Blake. I think I'm anti Ryan.
I've come to this conclusion. I think everybody in this situation wants there to be a good guy and a bad guy, and I just think there might be a lot of people in Hollywood who have big egos and they're all just clashing right now. And I don't think anybody is maybe necessarily in the right, but it's definitely looking like Justin Baldoni is the least malicious. But I don't like, how do you start a
You can't just file a sexual harassment claim against somebody who you have invited into your room to hold your baby. It's like, there are such things as mixed signals sometimes. And also he's married and she's married.
I will say that the voice memos that he sends,
were they creepy?
They make my tummy turn. Like an intuition. I'm just like, I don't buy it. I don't buy the really super nice guy. That doesn't mean that you're a horrible person, but it seems a little performative.
Okay, well, who cares? Performative nice is better than like, come over here and take your pants off.
No, that's true. That's true. But my whole point in bringing this up was you're talking about like this guy giving you gifts, and I saw this comment online of this woman that was like, it's so sad that we're all in this place where when there's a nice guy, we're all like, you're being manipulative or you're a bad person and you're hiding it. And it's like, I see her point that people are so quick to be like, you're this or you're that, instead of just being like, hey, maybe you're a nice person. But it is because there are so many people that exploit kindness and use it as a manipulation tactic and gifts and giving to pull things over on someone. And if you've experienced that, it's really hard to, like, that is the definition of a trust issue.
Right. I see. And I'm willing to say that I don't think this person was giving me gifts as a means to manipulation, but I do think that men sometimes it's the way
it's a bribe,
it's a love language, and it's almost like an exchange of like, you give me your affection and I'll give you things.
I think
because I don't have affection to give because I'm emotionally unavailable.
Exactly. And I like with that woman's comment, like, I didn't disagree, but at the same time, exactly what you're saying, like, it's not that I'm saying your gift or these grand gestures are with, a malicious intent, but it's not appropriate yet. Like I need you to be a human. Like, let's get to know each other. Like, I would like to have a proper communication over you buying me a house down the street from where you live now. Like, I'm thinking back to the con artist. It's like, they can be red flags.
Right. Yes. And I'm learning a lot about that. So the gifts were one thing that probably should have stood out to me as like, okay, you can't be honest with me about the fact that you vape, and you're not opening up to me in any kind of like emotional way, but you're giving me things. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to get, this is like my tragic flaw, is that I just keep giving more chances. I'm like, more to be revealed. I need more information before I can like give you a definitive answer. Okay. Yeah, so date like 5 rolls around. Known him for like a month and a half. Meanwhile, he started to like text me things like, he said, I think I miss you once. I was like,
I think?
Yeah. like, do you want to know what this emotion is? Do you want to describe it to me? Like, I think you need to watch Inside Out 2 or Inside Out 1. So he started to, I could tell he was like trying a little bit. Okay. So I'm at his house. We're having a sleepover and like we're having dinner and we have this whole day planned. I was with him all day. I hadn't slept with him yet. And we hadn't like gotten physical hardly at all. We made out a little. He was one of those kissers that literally sticks their entire tongue down your throat. And it just,
you get slapped for that.
I just, like, you can't work with that. I don't know. Do you think there's a person out there who that works for him with?
No.
Yeah, I
really don't.
Like, how?
Ladies, listen up. We need to put our foot down and spare the other women this type of weird humiliation. If there's a bad kisser, just take a moment and be like, I'd really appreciate 80% less. Thank you. We've got to start helping each other out.
That's kind of what I said to him. And then I could tell he got a little offended. No, he said, how come whenever I kiss you, you pull away? And of course, I didn't know what to say. I was just like, because I'm afraid you're going to choke me with your tongue. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm a good kisser. And I was like, yeah. And then we like, we tried a few times. Basically what I ended up doing is just like acquiescing to his style, letting him do it. And like, I just didn't really kiss back. And then he was like, see, we're getting there. And I'm like, totally. No. But he's an awkward kind of person. And I was like, I'm always willing to give grace to that type of a person. And at one point I was like, maybe he's a little like autistic.
I was
like, I can work with that.
Yeah. I've dated somebody like this, and the texting is very difficult because it's like, it's hard to read the emotion in person. That over text, oh my God, you're in the dark. Just don't even try.
Oh my God. Yeah. He commented on Mikey, my ex-husband, was at this medieval fair with Remy, and he saw in my stories that he was there, and he was like, oh, who are you there too, like with them at the medieval fair? And I was like, no, there aren't enough turkey legs in the world to get me to a medieval fair. And he was like, oh, do you really enjoy turkey legs? And I was like, no. And at that point I was like, this is not gonna work. Like he doesn't get my jokes. Do you guys get it?
Really obvious. There aren't enough turkey legs. Oh, you must really like.
Do you love turkey? I have a few at my farm. I'll send you some. Yeah. Anyway, what were you saying?
I'm just picturing you with like a bajillion turkey legs.
Yeah,
there aren't enough.
What if I was like, yes, I've been in competitions for turkey leg eating since I was 8.
That is definitely giving something's off.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're at this 5th date. Fast forward.
Hold on. What kind of plant medicine does he do?
He does the heavy. He did this one called iboga, which is basically like the most intense of that, like, all plant medicine. It's a root in Africa that actually it's used for people with really intense like heroin addiction. Like people who have not been able to get off of heroin can do iboga, and they've found that it completely like cures their addiction. And people who've had PTSD from, being in war or whatever, it also has been shown to cure like treatment resistant PTSD, depression. But it's an intense drug. It's one that you're like high for like 12 hours or something, and you like purge, and it's really he invited me to do it.
Sense of humor.
Well, okay, there's another caveat. He had some addiction issues early in life that he told me, he had gone to rehab for. He's fine now. That was like many, many years ago. And now he's doing this plant medicine for brain fog, he said. And I'm like, something's not adding up. You don't do iboga for brain fog.
It's giving
addiction. Maybe I still have something.
Yeah.
Okay. So date 5. Here we are. We're watching.
He doesn't drink?
He does. But not, I've never seen him drunk. Like, he has, like, one cocktail.
Okay, but usually anybody with a substance issue,
yeah,
they're sober.
I know.
They're not selectively sober.
Right. And his drug thing was, like, it wasn't, like, smoking too much weed. Like, it was like, a real thing. Yeah. So, I don't know. But again, here I am willing to be like, you know, he does plant medicine. He's got his life together. He has a really good job. He's very successful. I'm like, I just need more information. Well, we're at date 5, and one thing leads to the next, and I don't really know how to, like, just hook up with somebody and not have sex. Like, well, you know what it is?
What's the point?
Yeah, well, it's like, we're not gonna, like, have I feel like oral sex is more intimate than actual, like, sex. Like, I'm not gonna put my mouth there anyway.
Yeah. No.
So, long story short, one thing leads to another. We end up starting to have sex. He goes soft. Yes, he goes soft. Okay. I was like, oh no, like, was it me? And he's kind of like quiet he's kind of quiet for the rest of the night. Not really. We watch a movie. We, like, cuddled.
What
actually.
Movie?
What
movie?
We actually watched a documentary on Iboga. Because don't ask. I thought this was, like, what we had in common, because I'm really interested.
He's like, wait,
in
let's get to the part when it gives you erectile dysfunction. This will make you feel better.
No, I know. Well, no, this is where it gets worse. So he's going on a trip the next day, and, you know, his communication, which was already bad to begin with, gets noticeably worse. Mm-hmm. Okay, where I'm like, damn it happened again. Like, I literally let my guard down for 15 minutes, maybe 5, and now he pulls away. And then
he was traveling with a girl.
No, he's not traveling with a girl. No, it was a work trip.
It's always a work trip.
No,
who was communicating? I mean, unless it was really a work trip, but, like, you're saying he went ghost.
He basically ghosted me, but no, it was not because of a girl. It was because I think it's because he was mortified about his erectile dysfunction, and he didn't have the tools to talk about it with me.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That could happen.
No, he was on a trip with, I know who he was on a trip with. He did send me pictures. I mean, if he brought a girl, then yeah, that would throw a whole other element to that I had not considered, but I don't really think that that's what happened.
Well, the ED thing, that could make any man go ghost, so I'll give him that.
But like, in what world? How immature do you have to be? It's a very common thing. But
was he drinking that night?
He had 2 drinks.
It happens.
Well, it did. It did happen. So then he starts to kind of, like, pull back, and I realize that whole week I'm, like, racking my brain about, I'm mad at myself because I felt like I gave it up too early, and I felt like I gave my power away, because I feel like the man kind of controls the relationship and the woman controls the sex, and if you give the sex away before you're in a relationship, the whole dynamic is thrown off. That same week I went on a podcast with this guy who's an attachment style expert, and he was telling me how women bond through oxytocin through sex, and men don't, and men bond with women through shared struggle and, like, shared, like, problem solving. Like, an escape room is, like, a good date because a guy actually bonds. That's when they release oxytocin.
That was the worst date I've ever been on. And I was like, mom, I need help. I'm being kidnapped.
So I'm feeling, like, extra attached to this guy with erectile dysfunction. Men out there, if there's any one of you left listening to this podcast, we don't care if you have ED. Like, we will work with you. We don't care if you have ED. We will work with you. Women get attached from sex, and, like, that's just, like, how it is. So I'm over here, like, just agonizing. I can't believe I gave it up so soon. His behavior has totally changed now. Anyway, he comes back. He starts, I pull away. I stop. This is unusual for me to not address it and be like, hey, I noticed, like, that you pulled away. But I was trying just to give him space, and I wanted to have the conversation in person because our text communication is so off. I didn't want it to be misinterpreted. So he starts reaching out to me, saying, you know, I want to see you again. Can we get coffee? Blah, blah, blah. We end up going out to dinner. I bring it up at dinner, and he's like, sorry, hold on. You're distracting me.
You're talking about this iboga plant.
Yeah.
I'm like 99% positive. Michael had a business friend of his come to him as like a lawyer and be like, "Hey, I'm developing this drug called ibogaine, and it's from the iboga plant."
Yeah.
Yeah, that there's a guy that's starting to start a company in it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I wonder if they're...
Yeah, because it's you can only get it
Is this
FDA
the
approved
same
if it's... No, Michael's he's not a lawyer.
No, my Michael.
Oh.
The Michael that I'm talking about is my Michael as a lawyer. His friend from business school was starting a company.
Yeah. This guy's not starting a lot of people are trying to start iboga stuff because it's like, you know, with RFK and like all the plant medicine stuff now becoming more of a thing. Anyway, so we're at dinner and I bring it up and I'm like, I noticed that after we got physical that you kind of pulled away. And he was like, I'm so glad you brought that up. I could actually like see relief come over him. And he was like, you're amazing and you're such a great person and you're so beautiful and all this stuff. I just like, my head's not in the right place right now. He lost a home in the Palisades fire, not his home, but like a home. And he was kind of saying like, oh, because of that, I'm very, you know, scattered and things with his divorce that were pending. Mind you, he had started acting weird a week before the fire. So I knew this was kind of an excuse.
Yeah.
We ended up like
the night that he didn't perform. What are we going to call that night? Was that before the fires?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's a week before the fires.
Makes no sense.
Anyway,
unless he has a magical penis that predicted that fire coming.
He had a really big penis, but evidently it was too much for the blood to hold up. Okay, so anyway, then after that date, we actually hooked up a little bit that night after we had that conversation, and it was good, but like we didn't close on because I wasn't going to go there anymore.
Scary. Yeah.
We kind of agreed we were just going to slow things down, and you know, he was feeling like his head was in a weird spot. So I get home, I do a little soul searching, and I realized that he did not tell me in the beginning of our dating that he was in a place where when we started dating, he told me that he was ready to try to find a committed relationship. And now, fast forward, you know, almost 2 months in, he's saying, I don't know where my head's at. And for me, that is one of my non-negotiables. So I wrote him a text and I was like, I feel like I have to honor what you told me last night about your head being maybe not in the right place and feeling a little confused. I was like, the truth is what I'm really looking for is a committed relationship. And I wouldn't be being true to myself if I continued entertaining this. So I'm going to be moving on. And he was like, oh, I totally understand. Thanks so much. You're amazing. And then he wrote me again after and was like, can we still do Bufo together? We were going to do Bufo together at the end of the month, which is like this frog venom thing that basically it's
I
like
wonder if this man's penis isn't working. Just chill. Take an Advil. Like, go for a walk.
It's supposed to be a really heart-opening, like ego death experience. He has a shaman. It's a guided experience. And I was kind of open to it. He's done it before. He was kind of convincing me this would be a good idea. We were supposed to do it. And I was like, as much as I really want to. Oh, he also was supposed to come to Costa Rica on this trip. I booked it for him. He wanted to come. He told us that he was going to fly me and my friend down too. And then after the penis thing happened, he was like, don't cancel your flights. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go, you know, after all the fire stuff and everything. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so I was like, I don't think we can do Bufo together because I don't think it's productive for the sake of moving on and everything. Okay, this is where things get this, and I was like, we ended on great, you know, fine terms. I respect you. You respect me.
Just like, you know, didn't work out.
Not even 5 minutes later. It was probably maybe like 2 hours later. I see that he has reactivated his Raya account. Now, mind you, second date, he said to me, I'm canceling my Raya. I want to be with you. Second date. And at that time, I literally said to him, you don't need to do that, bro. If it's meant to be, it's going to happen. And we probably should be dating other people just to be more sure that.
Anybody that tries to get you to be exclusive after one date, red flag. Red flag.
He didn't demand that I delete mine, but he was like, well, you don't have to delete yours, but just so you know, I'm off of it. He was acting like we were exclusive. And then when the penis thing happened, now all of a sudden, you know.
Fragile ego could be.
Yeah. I don't know. And then, so I write him this thing on Riot. I actually just sent the eye roll emoji, and he was like, Aurora, I reactivated my account. Please don't be offended by that. And I was like, you came in guns a-blazing, promising me to take me all these places, giving me gifts that I never asked for, saying you're deleting your Raya, saying that you're coming to Costa Rica, making all these plans with me, and you know, and making me feel like we're exclusive. Then I let my guard down for 15 minutes. We get physical. I feel so confused the next day when you completely pull away your affection, and then you tell me you don't know where your head's at anymore, and you don't know if you're ready for something serious. And then here you are back on Raya, back on the prowl. I was like, just in case you still think you're looking for a committed relationship, you're not. You're looking for dopamine. And he writes back, and he was like, honestly, I'm just going to be honest with you. When we got physical, I felt like it was awkward, and I didn't think the chemistry was there. That pissed me off so much, because that's him taking his erectile dysfunction and blaming me.
Absolutely. Guys, first of all, the things that men can get off to, it wasn't you. It just wasn't. Like,
right?
No. The wind blows and these guys are like, hey, like, no.
Right? It made me think, like, is there something wrong with me? Did I do something wrong? And then I'm like, no, he's a terrible kisser. I know. I mean, I've had good sex and bad sex, but
there's also just like, it takes two. It
right.
takes two.
And also it was first time sex. If I was willing to give it another shot and look past the awkwardness that is his kissing and is his penis
that he was just not going to talk about,
that he was just not going to talk about, and then he turns around and says it was just, you know, after 2 months of dating, I actually have decided that, like, the chemistry is not there.
So much so that you weren't going to bring it up.
That you weren't going to bring it up.
He wouldn't have brought it up if you didn't.
He would have probably kept.
And he would have kept seeing you if you hadn't ended things.
Right.
See, this is giving big toddler who got his feelings hurt, who has a fragile ego, who didn't want to talk about things, and you made him talk about things. Then you ended the relationship, and then he had to make it himself feel better about it by being like, it was actually you this whole time and not the frog boo-goo that I do.
Frog Bufo.
Bufo. Frog boo-boo.
Yeah, so, and, you know, I could have just left it at there. I said to him, well, wow, I'm really disappointed to hear that. I hope you find the first time sex that you're looking for. And that would have been such a powerful note to leave it on. But of course, me, 5 a.m. the next morning, on email, because there wasn't enough space on the text. I started from the top to the bottom, and I was basically just like, you know, mature people don't just blame it on chemistry when they have I've obviously have erectile dysfunction, and there's medicine for that. And, you know, if I was willing to work through that, then I think I wrote something that I sent at 5:30 in the morning that it would have been better had I not written it. Now he has like confirmation to be like, well, she was crazy, so it's not me and my penis. Now some other girl has to suffer through that again.
Why do women do this? Because I have realized that I've done this also in all of my past relationships, where like I give like an exit interview pretty much. I'm like, this is what you did, and they're like, I know. Yes. And I'm like, they're like, what is the point of this? Like, you're just making me feel bad about myself. I'm like, well, like, so you can be better in the future. And they're like, you don't need to tell me that.
Oh, I don't have good responses, but I also give exit interviews that no one asks for. It's like
an unconscious thing that I didn't realize I was doing it. And I think I know what I was doing in any single time that has happened to me, where like, I think it's you processing, and like you want to process it like with your partner and like end the relationship together. And
but here's us expecting men to communicate the same way as us again.
And also, like, if it's somebody who can't take accountability, you're never ever ever gonna reach them, and they're never gonna give you what you want.
Right.
Versus like my relationship in college that just ended because like, well, young, dumb, and stupid mistakes, but like that I feel like was a very different. Like, you know, your relationship that you're still friends with the person?
Yeah.
Because, like,
Because you have to see them at class every day.
Well, we actually broke up right before we graduated, but like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where like, that was somebody who was able to take accountability, and now like we've moved past the crappy things and we're just like friends, versus people I learned from somebody who took accountability and apologized, and then situations where people aren't able to, and you're like, you just learn the lesson that like, don't even try. Just don't even if they're going to take accountability and apologize. I just realized like, when something's not right, just let it go.
Well, here's what I agree with you, but I think now we've come full circle to the fact that men dating in this era are not willing to take feedback because there's so many options for them out there. He's just going to try again with another girl, do the same thing, and probably some version of this is going to happen again, unless their chemistry is so amazing, unless she loves the tongue all the way down her throat.
What to me was a really big red flag in the beginning was that you said he had a child who was really young. And I'm just trying to I'm assuming this means less than a year old.
Well, I don't want to get into anything specific because I don't want to identify him, but yes, there is some serious. He has never had a relationship that I think has been longer than 2 years.
That's a massive red flag. But also just the fact that there is a woman who has a child, and like, I don't have kids, but you do. You really, for the most part, I think someone would want to try to make it work with the parent of their child, and to give up on that.
I didn't judge that though.
I'm not judging it. I'm just saying like, she had her reasons and they were probably very, very valid.
No, he left her.
And he's a horrible
Well, that's what he told me at least. But you don't know. I think there are some real legitimate reasons where you cannot make this marriage work.
So they were married for less than 2 years, had a child. Did they get? Well, I guess we can't.
No, I can't give any of the information. But all of that, if I tell you the details on that, you're going to be like, why did you ever date him? But for me, I think there are always exceptions to the rule. Like if you're with somebody and they maybe have like a drug problem, or they're like,
okay, you know what this is giving? It's when you're with somebody and all of their friends are cheaters, serial cheaters, and your boyfriend is like, oh my God, I know. They're just terrible, right? I could never do that to you. Your boyfriend or your girlfriend is not the exception. You are like the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And if your boyfriend is friends with people who cheat or just aren't good people, like, come on. The answer is right in your face. So like the exception rule is statistically not in your favor. It's like you're not going to be the exception.
Yeah.
You're going to be the average.
Statistically, the exception is the exception.
Yeah. So maybe let's not err on that side moving forward.
I know. So things that I learned through this last experience, I think that you need to have a rapport and a communication style that you feel comfortable with in the beginning, and that especially where you feel like your jokes are being understood.
Yeah, that's a fair minimum.
And the sex thing, a part of me, when I tell this story to people are like, "Bro, you did nothing wrong. Like 5 dates or like 2 months is plenty of time to wait to have sex with somebody." But for me now, I'm just like, I am so nervous to go there with somebody because I see the way it makes me feel like I've given away my power, and how it makes them pull away, or it makes them like, or just shifts things with them, right?
Yeah, but that's because you're choosing to date people who aren't interested in real relationships.
Yeah,
they're
that is
not interested in communication or commitment or intimacy. Like, and also, we live in Los Angeles, and if you're listening to this and you're not from Los Angeles, this is a cesspool of people with a lot of personality disorders. Like, they really are all here.
What do you mean? Oh, because they're actors?
Well, everybody here is kind of like a dreamer, and like we are like the unicorns of the population with like the big egos. And I hate to break it to anybody,
well, I don't have a personality disorder.
We all have a little bit of one.
No, I don't.
But like we do. This is where, you know, we live in Hollywood. Like, there are a lot of successful people that live in Los Angeles. What is it, like majority of the 1% lives in California?
Yeah, there's a lot of successful people.
A lot of people who are successful lack empathy. And it's because they're smart, they're cunning, they're able to get ahead.
Right.
Like, it's just...
I don't think these people are lacking empathy. I think maybe more of what's going on with me and the pool of men that I have to choose from is that if you're single in your late 30s to late 40s, the likelihood of you having some kind of emotional unavailability or attachment style issue is significantly higher than if I was to date somebody in my like early 20s or even late 20s.
The statistic,
because it's like, why haven't you been able to find one person that you can create a life with if that's what you really want? And I guess people could say the same thing about me, and that's true.
But that is true, and that's why it all comes down to like understanding your patterns. And like, do you remember, what was this, like 2 years ago, me, you, and Olivia were with I was like, I think it was Sherry or somebody. It was somebody's therapist, and they were like, why have you guys all ended up dating a narcissist, all three of you? They were like, let's look at your parents dynamic, let's look at your family dynamic, let's look at your sibling dynamic. Like, why is it that the three of you have all picked a very specific type of guy?
Well, because Dad was not affectionate when we were young, and he never said I love you, and
so,
he
like,
never,
just as we can sit here and point the finger at like, you're a narcissist,
oh,
this,
for
you're
sure,
that, it's like we also picked them
100%. And I see myself doing that. Like, I'm seeing a few.
You're still doing it. You want a man to prove you wrong, and they just keep proving you right.
True, but I mean, it's not like I haven't, like, I go on dates with guys who are really into me. I went on a date with a guy last week who sent me flowers the next day, wants to see me again, and I'm like, ew. Like,
you have to break that pattern. You have to.
No,
break that
I know. It's like, if you're really into me, and he was a nice guy, but
see,
I'm going on a second date with the guy tonight for Nobu, and he's also super sweet. He was so nervous the first date, and I also was just
cute.
Well, yeah, I mean, that should be a green flag. I shouldn't want some guy who's like suave and
he's
like,
my third date of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no,
I do this all day long.
It reminds me, remember when I was in college and high school, and like my first boyfriend was super obsessed with me, and you and Olivia were both like, you've never had your heart broken, you're lacking sensitivity because of it. And it was because I chose guys that were obsessed with me. And then I chose, okay, I'm not going to do that one time. And I was like, I'm going to go back to doing that, actually. It was quite nice.
I know.
But not even obsessed, just somebody that like makes you feel like the princess you are consistently. Anybody can make you feel like a princess for a month or two, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah, these guys are lacking stamina.
It needs to be like, because it's real and because they actually appreciate you and they actually are grateful to be with you, and you guys make each other's life better. And like, anybody that's just upfront, like giving you gifts or let me buy you a house. That was probably the most.
Who said that?
Can we say his name?
Oh wait,
con artist.
To you?
No, to you.
Oh, to me. He wasn't gonna buy me a house. He was buying himself a house
down the street from you.
Down the street that he was gonna live in, or he was gonna rent a house down the street, so that we could.
Didn't you guys have a real estate agent together?
Well, yes, pretty much. Long story short.
Dating. That was red flag.
Yes.
But my point is, like, anybody that's like focused on building a real relationship, they're not thinking about that because they also want a real relationship, and they want to make sure they know you before they commit to that.
Yeah, it's true. So that wraps up my most recent scenario. I have not talked to him since. I blocked him on all platforms, and I did send that email. I'm sure he's not missing me, and I'm not missing him. So moving along.
We're not missing you, but we are going to talk about you.
Yeah.
I hate when guys are like, oh, really? You must if you're talking about him. It's like, no, we actually just like to talk shit.
Yeah. It helps us to talk about things, okay?
It's crazy. You guys might want to try it out, and your penis won't take it out on you.
Seriously. Maybe if you didn't hold all your emotions in, you could keep it up.
11/11, make a wish.
Yeah.
So
Okay, good.
but there's gonna be so many good clips.
Do you think? I was thinking halfway through that I don't know if there's a lot of good.
No, I wrote down so many funny things.
Okay, good. One thing that Cassie asked her, the girl who's doing my social clips, is that we do like at the end where she just has things to choose from, like facial reactions, like me being like, and you being like stunned, like things that so that we can pull for social.
The camera's rolling, so
Yeah.
like thumbnail poses.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, thumbnail.
good.
This could be. Well, I'll do reactions now. Okay. Okay. Now another one. I don't know. I can't laugh on command. I don't know how. How about this?
Yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, that's good.
And then I love the.
Yeah.
I love John for the title. I don't think we can do Bufo together anymore.
I don't think.
I don't think we
I
can
don't
do
think we can do
Bufo
Bufo
together
together.
anymore. due to your erectile dysfunction and emotional unavailability, I don't think we can do Bufo together anymore.
I didn't want to say this because I didn't want to say who it was, but this happened to me once, and he did not ghost me the next day. He was very, very sweet, and he was like, I just want you to know it wasn't you. I would love to take you to dinner, and like this was like someone that we're all
when a woman gives herself to you in that way, the queen that I am, and that happens, you should be profusely letting me know that it was not me, and then also like you need to double down on your affection after you give somebody intimacy.
Also, some guys do get nervous to do that, and like
for sure
it happens.
Sometimes it happens when they're not nervous. Like I mean,
if that happened to girls, imagine how often that would happen to girls.
Imagine how often
we're all so nervous all the time. Anyway.
It's like, how often do we actually enjoy
the world
like first time sex? How many fake orgasms do women have?
Oh my God.
Like men have to actually keep going until they finish, otherwise we'll know. We'll be like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
But women, we can just fake it when we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe we just shouldn't have sex with people that we don't know really well.
Probably not. It's probably for the best.
I'll think about it. Okay.
Should Sophia give you like a grade of how you handled the situation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's wrap it up by you giving me a grade for the man that I chose, how I behaved, and how he behaved.
I would say you were on a solid B+ course until the email.
Oh, my behavior.
Yeah. The email, nothing good comes at 5 a.m. Not him.
I couldn't even, I was like, it's going to look crazy if I send it now. Maybe I should wait and send it at like 9. And I couldn't even do that. That's my lack of self-restraint.
Imagine send a follow-up email. I would just like you to know that I'm in a different time zone.
Circling back to the last email about the Bufo erectile dysfunction.
I was on the East Coast. That was actually a 9 a.m. email. That's not even the right math.
Just want you to know that I was in a different time zone when I sent that. So I was not up really early writing you an email.
And honestly, there's nothing even wrong with wanting your thoughts to be heard. But it's only gonna make him feel more valid that like he wasn't the one in the wrong when like he didn't handle things perfectly either.
The person who does too much or does more or says more always ends up looking like the crazy one, which is usually the girl, which is unfair.
No, but in every single scenario, it's always the girl trying to be seen or heard or felt or understood or looking for clarity. And
there's none. There's
none because men aren't capable of that. But then they can just like show it to someone and be like, look, she was just so obsessed with me. And that's such a thing that manipulative men do, where they like, they won't mention that they fucked her over, that they couldn't get hard and blamed it on her, or that they cheated on her. And they'll just be like, look, she was crazy. Do you see this text?
Yeah.
It's like,
or like, do you see all the green and all the blue?
You want to know when somebody really gets manipulative? They will never put anything in writing. Ever.
Oh, he would say that to me. He's like, I don't want to say this over text.
Yes, because you can screenshot it. Like, have you ever been arguing with someone over text and their response is just like, I'm really sorry you feel that way?
Oh, yeah. That was at the end
really?
of Con Artist.
Because if we were in person, you would be screaming at me and your eyes would be black. So why are you not fighting back right now?
Yeah.
And then you learn your lesson because they never wanted you to have the proof that they would have like participated in.
Okay, so what grade do you give to my last prospective partner?
I'm really trying to gather all the facts here.
I mean, is this a hard one? He got an F minus.
No, you have dated worse than him.
Oh yeah, that's true.
For sure. Yeah, he doesn't give me psychopath vibes. He really gives me like, he's never going to be fixed. He doesn't want to settle down. If he hasn't yet with a child and somebody he married, if they didn't, I'm not going to say they didn't try to make that work. I don't know anything about them, but it's just, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And he needs to be honest with himself. You're not sober. Sorry. You're not. And you don't want something serious. He needs some real self-reflection, which he's not going to do.
No. I think that's, Why didn't you tell me all this before I wasted 2 months of my life?
Well, because you've stopped informing us on your dating patterns.
I know. I really have. Because I didn't want you guys to be like, wait, he had a drug problem? That's not good. I didn't want you to hear that.
This guy's taking frog juice? No.
Frog venom.
Was he an athlete? Okay.
Mm-mm.
What?
No, I'll tell you who he really was because it's actually pretty interesting. Okay, and then so basically, you didn't give me a grade for him.
Oh, for him, yeah, no, he gets a solid C minus.
C minus for behavior, but as a prospective partner, probably an F, right?
Oh yeah, no, he's hopeless.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I won. I got the B plus.
Yeah.
B. I got and then my email probably brought me to like a C. So I guess we deserve each other, and the universe has matched me with somebody who I deserve. Once again, I mean, really.
Okay, but I will say in the sense of, because I do believe like attracting certain types of people into your life is a thing.
Oh, for sure.
You're attracting less horrible people.
Yeah,
but you're not quite there yet.
I'm not quite there yet.
You would have probably gotten into a better next suitor if you didn't send the email.
Okay. Yeah, I think slowly but surely, and it's not linear, I am narrowing down what I like in a person. And yeah. I did, I'm not going to lie, I liked the gifts. So maybe I could keep that in.
Love bomb. I mean, I don't know if what he did was particularly like love bombing. I do think you should never give a girl.
I thought it was love bombing the Raya thing.
What did he do on Raya?
Well, the second date he deleted his Raya and like made it known to me. And then inviting me all over the world.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's just weird. But I will say, like, when you're dating someone, it is really hard. Like, when somebody's like, hey, let me fly you out to Paris. And you're like, that sounds fun.
I know. Why not?
I'm like, that sounds really fun.
All right. So we kind of messed up our wrap up. But,
oh, yeah.
Okay. So can we just cut that into a, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for listening to my, thank you. Well, how do I want to end this?
And on today's
Thank you
episode,
for your insight. And
you're welcome.
What do I say?
We just want to say we really appreciate you all listening to a relationship advice from two single ladies.
You're not single.
I'm not, but I'm not married.
That's true. Yeah, and once again, everything that you've heard is not regulated or approved by the FDA or RNA or no, I don't know. CPA, yeah. No, how do I sign off on this?
For any casualties that happen.
Oh, I'm going to implore them to leave. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to the latest shit show that is Aurora's Dating, and thank you to Sophie for helping to break that down for me and for letting me just, spill all of the tea on you. Please let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think I went wrong somewhere. If you see if there's any red flags that you think I need to be aware of. It's all hands on deck here, guys, and I need some help. So let me know what you think. Thanks so much for listening.
And better luck next time.
Yeah, better luck next time.